Hey everyone, it's Frank. Today we're going on an awesome adventure through the Bible. We're going to learn about some of the coolest stories ever told. We'll get to hang out with Noah on his giant ark, meet David who defeated Goliath, and dive deep into the ocean with Jonah and the whale. So buckle up, get ready for some fun, and let's learn about the Bible together. It's going to be epic. Our first story is about Noah, a man chosen by God for a very special mission. God saw that the world was full of yucky stuff, so he told Noah to build a giant ark and gather 2 of every animal. This was no small task. It was a massive undertaking that required immense faith and dedication.
Noah worked super hard, even when people doubted him. They laughed and mocked him, but Noah kept going because he trusted in God's plan. He had faith in God, believing that what he was doing was right, even if it seemed impossible.
It rained for 40 days and nights. The rain was relentless, pouring down without stopping, turning the world into a vast ocean. The whole world was covered in water, but Noah, his family, and the animals were safe inside the ark. They floated on the waters, trusting that God would guide them to safety. Finally, after many days, the ark rested on a mountain. The waters began to recede, and hope was on the horizon. Noah sent out a dove, and it came back with an olive branch, meaning there was land again. This was a sign of new beginnings and God's promise of renewal.
God told Noah to leave the ark and start a new life. They stepped out onto dry land, ready to rebuild and start afresh. Noah was so thankful that God had saved him and his family. They were filled with gratitude and joy, knowing they were part of God's plan.
Noah's story teaches us to listen to God, even when it's hard. It reminds us that faith and obedience can lead to incredible outcomes. God always keeps his promises and takes care of us. The rainbow in the sky was a sign of his covenant, a promise that he would never flood the earth again. It's a beautiful reminder of his love and faithfulness. Our next story is about David, a shepherd who took on a giant named Goliath.
David knew that God was with him, and that made him braver than any giant.
David took his slingshot and 5 stones to face Goliath.
You're just a kid. What are you going to do with that little slingshot? I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty.
David's stone hit Goliath, and the giant fell. This story teaches us that with God's help, we can do amazing things. Get ready for a wild ride with Daniel, who loved God and prayed to him 3 times a day. No matter what was happening around him, Daniel stayed faithful and committed to his daily prayers. His unwavering devotion was known to everyone, and it was this very dedication that would soon be put to the ultimate test. Some jealous guys tricked the king into making a rule: no praying to anyone except the king. They were envious of Daniel's favor with the king and sought to find a way to bring him down. They knew that Daniel would never stop praying to his God, so they devised a cunning plan to trap him.
The jealous guys told the king, and the king was super sad. He realized he had been tricked, but he felt bound by the law he had signed. The conspirators were relentless, insisting that Daniel be punished for breaking the new decree. He liked Daniel, but a rule was a rule. The king's hands were tied, and despite his fondness for Daniel, he had no choice but to enforce the law. His heart was heavy as he gave the order.
Daniel was thrown into a den of lions. It was a terrifying and seemingly hopeless situation. The lions were fierce and hungry, and everyone expected the worst. The king was worried, but he hoped that Daniel's God would save him. He spent a sleepless night, pacing and praying that somehow Daniel would be spared. The next morning, the king rushed to the lion's den. His heart pounded with anxiety and hope as he hurried to see if Daniel had survived the night.
"Daniel, did your God save you?" The king's voice echoed with desperation and anticipation as he called out to his friend. "My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions." Daniel's voice rang out strong and clear, recounting the miraculous intervention that had kept him safe. "They have not hurt me!" Daniel stood unharmed among the lions, a testament to his faith and God's protection.
The king was overjoyed. He couldn't contain his happiness and relief. He immediately ordered Daniel to be lifted out of the den. Daniel's story reminds us that when we love and obey God, he protects us. His faith was unshakable, and his trust in God was rewarded in the most incredible way. Even when things seem scary, we can trust that God is always with us. Just like Daniel, we can find courage and strength in our faith, knowing that we are never alone. Jonah tried to hide from God by hopping on a ship going in the opposite direction. He thought he could escape his divine mission by sailing far away.
God told me to go to Nineveh, but I was scared. The people there were known for their wickedness, and I feared they wouldn't listen to me. So I tried to sail away from God. I thought if I could just get far enough, I could avoid the task he had given me.
A huge storm came up, and the sailors thought it was Jonah's fault. The waves were so fierce that the ship was about to break apart.
I admitted I was running from God and told them to throw me overboard. I knew it was the only way to calm the storm.
Jonah got swallowed by a giant whale. The whale was sent by God to save Jonah from drowning. Inside the whale, Jonah realized his mistake and prayed to God. He spent 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the whale, reflecting on his actions.
I prayed to God and said I was sorry. I promised to fulfill his command if given another chance.
The whale spat Jonah out onto the shore. He was given a second chance to complete his mission. Jonah went to Nineveh and told everyone what God wanted them to do. He warned them to repent for their sins and change their ways. Jonah's story teaches us that we can't hide from God. No matter how far we run, His plans for us will always find us. He always knows what we're doing and has a plan for our lives. Even when we make mistakes, He offers us forgiveness and guidance. When we listen to God, good things happen. Our lives become filled with purpose and joy, and we can make a positive impact on the world around us. Moses was chosen by God to lead the Israelites out of Egypt.
With God's help, I kept asking Pharaoh to let my people go. Pharaoh finally agreed, but then he changed his mind and sent his army after us.
The Israelites were trapped between Pharaoh's army and the Red Sea.
I raised my staff and God parted the Red Sea.
The Israelites walked through on dry ground, and the sea closed up, swallowing Pharaoh's army. This incredible story teaches us that God is super powerful and can do anything. When we trust in God, even when things seem impossible, He can make a way for us. Our next story is about the birth of Jesus in Bethlehem. Mary and Joseph couldn't find a place to stay, so they ended up in a stable. That's where baby Jesus was born. Mary wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger. A bright star appeared in the sky, leading wise men to Bethlehem. They brought gifts for baby Jesus: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. The wise men knelt down and worshiped Jesus, knowing He was the Son of God. This beautiful story reminds us that God's love for us is so great that He sent His Son Jesus to be born into the world as a baby. Jesus came to bring hope, love, and joy to everyone. 9. Jesus told a story about a man who was robbed and left for dead. A priest and a Levite walked by without helping, but a Samaritan saw the hurt man and felt compassion. He stopped, cleaned the man's wounds, and took him to an inn. The Samaritan even paid for the man to stay there until he got better. Jesus asked, "Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers?" The expert in the law replied, "The one who had mercy on him." Jesus told him, "Go and do likewise." This story teaches us to be kind and compassionate to everyone, even if they're different from us. We should always help those in need, just like the Good Samaritan did. Joseph had lots of brothers who were jealous of him and his colorful coat. They sold him into slavery and told their father he was dead. Joseph was taken to Egypt, where he became a slave in Potiphar's house. But Joseph never gave up hope and always trusted in God. He became a very important man in Egypt, in charge of all the food. Years later, his brothers came to Egypt for food and met Joseph. Joseph forgave them and helped them. Joseph's story teaches us that even when bad things happen, God can use them for good. It's important to forgive others and always trust that God has a plan for our lives. Jesus performed incredible miracles, showing love and compassion. He healed the sick, calmed storms, and even brought people back to life. One time, Jesus fed over 5,000 people with just 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Another time, He calmed a storm by saying, "Peace, be still," One of the most amazing miracles was when Jesus brought Lazarus back to life. Jesus performed many miracles to show people that he was the Son of God. These miracles teach us that with God, all things are possible. 8. Wow, we learned about so many amazing stories today. We met Noah, David, Daniel, Jonah, Moses, and celebrated the birth of Jesus. We discovered the importance of kindness from the Good Samaritan and the power of forgiveness from Joseph. The Bible is full of exciting stories, each teaching us important lessons about God, faith, courage, and kindness. Now it's your turn. Which story did you like best? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more awesome adventures. Wow, wasn't that fun? We learned about Noah's Ark, David and Goliath, Daniel in the lion's den, Jonah and the whale, and Moses parting the Red Sea. We even celebrated the birth of Jesus and learned about his amazing miracles. Next time, we're going to uncover some lesser-known stories from the Bible. Until then, keep shining your light. Bye.